The rules for this challenge will be in the description. Hey, how's it going everyone? Rennick here, and I made an attempt to beat Pokemon Infinite Fusion as a hardcore. So let's see how I did. Man, fusions are pretty cool. Oh shoot, it's time to check the mail. Let me grab my potion from my computer. I then went downstairs and my mom had my letter from the Pokemon League. She hands me the letter from the league and they have accepted my application. Woohoo! I'm finally a trainer. My mom couldn't remember my rival's name, so I reminded her that his name was Max. I then leave my house to run into Max. He brags about being accepted and then is surprised that I got accepted, to then insult me with, "I'm surprised they let you in. I assumed they had higher standards." Alright Max, this means war. I then find Professor Oak and grab Charmander as my starter, naming him Drago. Max fuses the other starters, you fetching cheater. We then have a battle and I beat him and he leaves baffled, in your face. I then head to the Pokemart to pick up a package for Professor Oak. After I delivered his package, he gave me 5 Pokeballs. I then go to Max's house and pick up a town map. I then catch a Pidgey and name her Peggy. I also catch a Spearow and name him Sparrow. I head into the Viridian Forest and catch a Kakuna, naming him Bumblebee. I then make my way to Pewter City and catch a Rattata and name her Rat. After some grinding, Bumblebee evolves into Beedrill. I then fuse Rat and Bumblebee, and yeah, this is a weird fusion.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Anyways, I then go to Route 3 and catch a Nidoran and name him Rhino. Next, I fuse Rhino with Drago. I then challenge Brock with Bumblebee and Drago. He starts with Geogie, a variant of Pidgey I didn't know we needed. This thing actually looks pretty cool. I start off with Bumblebee and use Tail Whip to weaken Geogie. I then use Twin Needle to try to poison it. The damage is okay, but it did not poison. With a few more Twin Needles, Geogie goes down. Dignix comes out. That's a funky name. But despite the name being funky, this thing has a look that belongs in a horror game. Although, I wonder if you boop its nose, will it squeak? I then use Twin Needle to try and poison it, but once again no luck. Bumblebee then dies to Rock Tomb. Drago comes in and manages to burn it. A few more embers are able to finish it off. I then buy a Magikarp. I then name her Clara. Brock then comes to save Nurse Joy from trying to help one Pokemon. Bruh, how are you able to heal 6 Pokemon at once but can't heal one Geodude? Bruh, who's paying this Nurse Joy? She needs to be fired. I head into Mount Moon and run into a Padude. What even is this goofy Oz fusion? I don't even know what to say about this thing. And while trying to catch it, Peggy unfortunately dies. Ugh. I then catch it and name it Mushroom Man. While in Mount Moon, Drago evolves, and after beating up a Team Rocket grunt, Draco evolves again. I then come across Team Rocket, making this scientist help them make a triple fusion machine. I then walk up to interrupt their operation for them to send the nerd to battle me. I beat him with no issues. Team Rocket attempts to do the triple fusion but fails and then leaves. I then pick up the Dome Fossil. I then catch a Mankey and name him Monkey. I then fuse Monkey and Sparrow together. And oh gosh, this first fusion form is ugly. Ugh. So I then inversed it. Next, Clara evolves into a Gyarados. Max then comes to insult me and wants to see my Pokemon. Alright Max, you want to see my Pokemon? They will freaking obliterate you. He starts with his Nidoauto, and I start off with Monkey. Nidoauto isn't much of a threat, and with 3 aerial aces, it goes down. Mantata comes out and gets one-shotted by Karate Chop. Squirtsar comes out, and aerial ace does a decent amount of damage. It then uses Bubble, and that ends up doing a lot of damage. So I switch to Clara, who kills Squirtstar with a critical bite. Abra then gets one shot by bite as well. Take it easy. You started this, man. Monkey then evolves. Max then heads back to Vermilion City. I then beat up everyone on the bridge, and a Team Rocket grunt wants to recruit me, but I simply refuse and beat him up. I then find a Caterpie and catch it, naming it Caleb. After I beat up a trainer, Caleb evolves into a Metapod. And then after beating some more trainers, Caleb evolves into a Butterfree. I then watch Bill fuse with a Rhydon and help him undo it as he regretted it. He then gives me a ticket for the SS. I then unfuse Mushroom Man to trade Paris for a Yama. I fuse Clara and Caleb. I then challenge Misty. She starts off with Jiggly Dean, and I start off with Monkey. Cross Chop kills her Pokemon in one hit. Audio comes out and dies to one aerial ace. Well, that was easy. I then catch a Meowth and name her Luna. On the way to Vermilion City, I catch an Oddish and name her Plant. I also catch a Krabby, naming her Mrs. Krabs. I then catch a Diglett and name him Dave. I then catch an Ekans and name him Kyle. I then fuse Mrs. Krabs with Miss Fist. While on the SS Anne, I find the fossil nerd again, and he offers a challenge for another fossil. After beating him, I chose the claw fossil. I then find Max on the ship, and he challenges me to another battle. He starts off with Nidato, and I start off with Clara. After some side beams, Nidato goes down. Starbra is next and dies to Silverwind. Warstar comes out and gets hit hard by a critical side beam. Max then switches into Manecate just for it to die to 2 side beams. Warstar comes back out and dies. I then help the captain with his seasickness, and he gives me the move Cut. Mrs. Krabs then evolves along with Dave. I then challenge Lieutenant Surge. I start off with Dave, who kills his Volt B with 2 bulldozers. Piccolette comes out, landing a quick attack that brings Dave to the yellow. Yeah, I should have given him a citrus berry. Bulldoze then one-shots it. He brings out his last Pokemon, Raybuzz, who also uses a quick attack, bringing Dave to the red. Bulldoze brings it to the yellow, for it to then eat its own citrus berry. Come on, man, you didn't have to mock me like that. Sheesh. I decided to keep Dave in, causing him to die to a quick attack. Mrs. Krabs comes in and finishes off the Raybuzz, allowing me to win my 3rd gym badge. Mrs. Krabs then evolves. After clearing some trees in this guy's backyard, he gives us a Shears, allowing me to not need Cut anymore. I head back to the Viridian Forest and pick up an egg. Next, I help this fossil researcher clear some Beedrills, and she gives me the old Amber. I then pick up Kabuto from being revived and name him Shredder. I also pick up Anorith and name it Alex. I then catch a Voltorb and name it Bomb. The egg then hatched, and I obtained a Venipede and I named him Toxin. I then catch a Zunix and Rock Tunnel and name it Bat Snake. I then used a Moonstone to evolve Drago. While in Rock Tunnel, Kyle evolves into an Arbok. I then grabbed an egg. While trying to get back to a Pokemon Center, I got caught in a battle which led to Clara to die. Ugh. Monkey also ends up dying because of poison. Luckily, Drago is able to finish the battle. Unfortunately, Drago would fall to a Squirtle in another trainer battle, who then battle a trainer that proved to be even harder to beat, causing X-Wing, Kyle, Mrs. Crab, and the rest of my team to fall. Leaving me with a bunch of low-level Pokemon left and not having energy to grind them up. It was time to attempt again. So after some grinding, Monkey evolves. I then battle the trainer again, and have a much easier time. I then catch a Hoot Whirl and name it Toad. I then get an Eevee and name it Leo. I then evolve Leo into Jolteon and fuse him with Kyle. I then catch a Bellsprout and name it Pea Shooter. I then hatch the egg, which gives me a Noibat. I then name him Batman. I then find a shiny Pikachu. I catch him and name him Bob. I then hatch an egg that I got from a breeder, which gave me a Nidogie. I then name him Hornbird. Drago then evolves, and of course we're going with the Rathalos Sprite. X-Wing also evolves. I then beat up the Fossil Nerd again and choose the Skull Fossil. I then get the move Fly. I then head back to Lavender Town and find Max at the Pokemon Tower. We then have a battle. He starts with Nidodo and I start off with Drago. I switch into Kyle, who kills Nidodo with 2 Thunder Fangs. Gyarados comes out and gets one shot by Thunder Fang. Warsword faints after 2 Thunder Fangs. Starbra faints to 1 Crunch, thus winning me the battle. Afterwards, we then hear a loud commotion and go check it out. We find Team Rocket forcing an older man to go upstairs with them. He then heads back to Celadon City to harass Team Rocket. I then find Max beating up some Team Rocket grunts. He then moves on and Erica comes out and joins me to take Team Rocket down. Erica fails to beat Giovanni, so it's up to me to stop him. He starts off with Arnix. With a few drill runs, Drago takes it down. Ryrez is next. I switch to Monkey, who defeats Ryrez with 2 Brick Breaks. Oncon is his final Pokemon, and with 3 punishments, it goes down. Giovanni then flees the scene. I then pick up the Silph Scope. Next, I fuse X-Wing with Batman. I then challenge Erica, who honestly was a piece of cake for Drago. Exeguduo faints after 3 Fire Fangs due to her healing it. Pangape is able to take a Fire Fang but gets burned. It then faints to a second Fire Fang. With 2 Fire Fangs, Vileplume goes down, winning me my 4th badge. With that out of the way, I make my way to Lavender Town and enter the Pokemon Tower to encounter a Goatly. Well, at least I can get a Ghastly from it. I catch it and name it Ghost Freak. While making my way up in the Pokemon Tower, I encountered a trainer who proved to be a bit tougher. Yeah, the trainer with a Han trio was quite a menace. With it being a ghost ground and having levitate, what really made this fight hard was how hard it hit. One Shadow Ball brought Mrs. Crab to the red and caused her to faint with a second one. With 2 aerial aces, Monkey is able to end this Phantom Menace. I then separate Ghost Freak and fuse Shredder with the Ghastly. With some grinding, Shredder evolves into many forms. It was then time to take on the spirit that is blocking our way. I start off with Kyle and use Crunch, doing about 1/4 of its health just for Genwalk, to then use Bone Club, causing Kyle to faint. Shredder then cleans it up with Shadow Ball. After rescuing Mr. Fuji, he gives me the Poke Flute. I then find a Lydian in the Hidden Forest. I catch it and name it Ladybug. I then try to catch a Snorlax, but it faints to burn.
You know the rules, and so do I. Say goodbye.
I then encounter a Ponyro. I catch it and name it Pegasus. Little did I know that I misspelled it. Oops. While battling a trainer, Monkey unfortunately faints to a slow choke.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. The night goes on as I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life, I just wanna scream. How could this happen to me?
Monkey, he will be missed. Shredder comes in and avenges Monkey. Next, I grab the pokeradar. I then use the pokeradar in Area 4 of the Safari to find Larvitar. I catch her and name her Godzilla. I find a Mirth, I catch it, and name it Darth. I head back to Rock Tunnel and pick up a Honedge.
It's dangerous to go alone, take this.
And name him Blade. I then pick up an Abra from the game center and name her Wizard. After giving Onyx a rare candy, it evolves into a Steelix. Wizard evolves into Kadabra, and then into an Alakazam. Blade also evolves. I then fuse Wizard and Blade together. I then take on Koga. I start off with Wizard. I set up with Calm Mind and his Venomir, then uses Fling, throwing its black sludge and gets a critical, bringing Wizard to the yellow. Bruh. Also, I don't know why it was super effective. If you know why, let me know in the comments. Luckily, Psychic is able to one-shot it. Magnafing also gets one-shot by Psychic. Beether comes out. Pin Missile brings Wizard down to the red, and Psychic brings Beether down to the yellow. I try to use Shadow Sneak to kill it, but it lives and causes Wizard to faint. Drago comes out. He heals Beether, so it takes 2 Fire Fangs to kill it. Tonk is his final Pokemon and faints after 2 drill runs, thus winning me the battle. After saving some hostages from Team Rocket in the Silph Coat, I picked up Lapras and named him Larry. Next, I evolve Bob into a Raichu. X-Wing also evolves and looks vaguely familiar. Godzilla evolves as well. It was then time to battle Max. As usual, he starts with Nidogeat, so I start off with Bob. Bob is able to paralyze Nidogeat with a discharge and finish it with a second discharge. Tauros comes out and I switch into Shredder, who is able to take the Zen Headbutt. Shredder is able to tank another Zen Headbutt and lands a Confuse Ray. I then switch to Drago, who is able to take Tauros down with a few Brick Breaks. Warsword comes out and I switch to X-Wing. With 2 Dragon Pulses, it goes down. Starbra faints to Signal Beam. Electados falls to 2 Ancient Powers. After beating him, he decides to aid me with beating Giovanni. He starts off with Ryrus and Pramrino. Yeah, I give up trying to pronounce these fusion names. I start off with Shredder and use Surf. After a few surfes, Max's Nidogeat goes down. Tauros is able to defeat Primarino, and Surf takes care of Ryrus. Genkan and Sand Queen are next. Now the level scaling here is utterly unfair because of Sand Queen being at level 57 and the level cap is level 50. So this is some bull crap going on here. I switch to X-Wing to keep Shredder from possibly fainting to Genkan. X-Wing and Tauros come close to beating Sand Queen, but sadly faints from being ganged up on. Starbra finishes his Sand Queen, and after 2 surfs, Genkan goes down. Team Rocket then flees again. The president of the company then gives me a Totodile and a Master Ball. I then name him Chompers. I then trade my Golbat for a Gligar. I catch a Bagon in Area 1 of the Safari and name him Ace. He then evolves into a Shelgon. I catch the second Snorlax and name her Susan. I then gain the HM Strength. Afterwards, I pick up the Good Rod and catch a Venonat and name her Mothra. Ace evolves into Salamence. I then teach Drago Mega Horn. Afterwards, it was time to take on Sabrina. I start off with Shredder for obvious reasons, with Ghost beating Psychic. After several Shadow Balls and her healing her first Pokemon, it eventually faints. Espeon comes out and I switch into Drago. Drago is able to obliterate it with 1 Mega Horn. Alabro comes out. I switch to Ace, who is able to defeat it with 2 Crunches. Genkazam comes out and gets one shot by Crunch, winning me the battle, allowing me to earn my 6th badge. Next, I catch a Trico and name him Razor. I also catch a Mudkip and name him Lagiacrus. I then catch a Torchic and name him Dragon Fist. Afterwards, I find Team Rocket robbing a Sailor. Man, y'all can't go 5 seconds without harassing someone. Come on. I then catch an Absol and name her Miss Darkness. Godzilla then evolves into Tyranitar. I then fuse Bob and Godzilla. Razor also evolves into a Grovyle and into a Sceptile. I then fuse Razor and Iron Snake. After some training, Dragon Fist evolves into a Combuskin and into a Blaziken. I then fuse him with Ace. With some more training, Lagiacrus evolves into a Marshtomp and then into a Swampert. I then fuse him with Clara. I then make my way to the Fire Gym. I got caught in a trainer battle and this Dugtrio fusion ends up killing Drago because of Arena Trap. Bruh. Luckily, Shredder finishes it off. I then catch a new Charmander and name it Rathalos. I unfuse Hornbird and restore my starter. So after training like a madman, it was time to fight Blaine. He starts off with Glue Dash and I start off with Shredder. I switch into Dragon Fist thinking that he would go for a grass type move. Fly is able to one-shot it. Dragon Fist comes close to beating his Chartactyl, but feints to a Sky Drop. Another good fusion has fallen. Lagiacrus is able to finish it with Aqua Tail, then feints to a 9-9 with Thunder Fang. Bruh. This was honestly a bloodbath. Sheesh. Shredder cleans it all up and wins me the badge. I then revive an Aerodactyl and name him Skylord. I pick up a Scyther from the game center and name him Blades. I catch a Tentacool. Next I pick up a Ralts egg. In the Ilex forest I catch a Phantom. Blades then evolves into Scizor. I then fuse him with Skylord. I then hatch the Ralts egg and name it Beauty, originally planning for it to become a Gardevoir. But as you will see in a moment, that changes. Beauty then evolves into a Kirlia. In Area 3 of the Safari Zone, I catch a Dino and name her Darkness. I also rename Beauty to Dark Knight. I pick up a Dawnstone and use it to evolve him into a Gallade. I then fuse Dark Knight and Darkness together. After a lot of training, it was time to stop Team Rocket once and for all. Giovanni uses the triple fusion of the legendary bird trio. Godzilla is able to beat the Moltres head. I then switch to Razor to keep Godzilla from fainting. Unfortunately, Razor gets hit hard coming in, leaving him to be in the red. He's able to bring the remaining heads to the red, but faints in the process. Shredder then finishes the job. Team Rocket then dissembles and Giovanni flees. I then grab the Ice Pick and Power Plant key. In Safari Area 2, I catch an Axew, naming her Destroyer, and in Area 5 a Beldum, naming it Metal. I then fuse them together. While training, Dark Knight evolves. Destroyer also evolves into many forms. I then take on Giovanni one last time. He starts with Ryrus, and I start off with Shredder. Shredder is able to one-shot Ryrus with Surf. Electrio comes out and brings Shredder to the red with Discharge. Shredder is able to survive and one-shots it with Surf. Glistar comes out and I switch to Dark Knight, who dodges the Mega Horn. That was close. Close Combat is able to one-shot it. Goatchamp comes out and also gets one-shot by Close Combat. Rylax comes out and can you guess what happens? Yeah, it gets one shot by Close Combat. I then run into Max on the way to the Pokemon League. He then wants to battle. Nidogeet gets one shot by Zingzap. Maghorn faints to an Earthquake. Starkazam faints to one Crunch. Blastar comes out and faints to two Zingzaps. Electabuzz is next, and with two Rock Slides it goes down. Calcute also goes down with two Crunches. So, yeah, I was not expecting Godzilla to be able to solo his team, but it happened. I then catch a Dodrio. Dark Knight evolves after some training. I then take on the Pokemon League. Lorelei is first. I start off with Dark Knight, and she starts with Magmorgong. So I don't know what happened. The clip glitched. So either I used Swords Dance and took a hit, or I missed attack and took a hit. Either way, the next close combat one-shots her Magmorgong, so doesn't matter. Jin Growth comes out and goes down to a crunch. Memo Bro also goes down to a close combat. Pentaster also goes down to a close combat. Weaveress goes down to a close combat as well. So Dark Knight literally pulled a One Punch Man move and obliterated her team. Sheesh. Bruno is next. He starts with Mavire, and I start with Rathalos, who is able to one-shot it with Earth Power. Marochan comes out, and I switch into Shredder. Surf then one-shots it. Steed Champ is next, and I switch to Rathalos, who defeats it with a few flamethrowers due to Bruno using full restores and it having sturdy. Cycross goes down to a flamethrower. Magnenix, whatever, is his final Pokemon and gets one shot by Earth Power. I then take on Agatha. She starts off with Miss Bat, and I start off with Godzilla. Crunch is able to one-shot it. Wobgar comes out and also gets one shot by Crunch. Gendoom goes down to one crunch as well. Snorgar is next and is very bulky. Once Godzilla got to yellow, I swapped to Dark Knight and she switched to Close combat is able to one-shot it. Norgar then faints to a close combat. Lance is the final Elite Four member. He starts off with Dragogos. With a few rock slides, it goes down. Toga Knight comes out. It manages to survive a Zing Zap and one-shots Godzilla with Moonblast. Gosh dang it. Well, there went my best counter to Max. I bring out Destroyer, and let me just say, the name is not misleading. Meteor Mash defeats Toga Knight, and Destroyer's attack raises. Tyrannodactyl is Destroyer's next victim. I use Dragon Dance to raise attack and speed. Tyrannodactyl lands a head smash and faints to Meteor Mash. Outrage one-shots Hypnair. Poridra also gets one-shot by Outrage, allowing me to win. Lance then announces that I'm the champion. Wait, one more challenge? No. Max. It was time to show Max, once and for all, why I am the true champion. I start off with Shredder and spam Ancient Power, hoping for a stat boost. Sadly, I don't get any boost, and he switches to Hawtor. I switch to Skylord. I use Sword Dance to increase his attack. X-Scissor one-shots Hawtor. Rymortar comes out, and I switch to Shredder, who beats it with Surf. Electados is next. I predict the Thunder and switch to Rathalos. Rathalos then sadly faints to Waterfall. It's time to bring Destroyer out. I use Dragon Dance twice. Outrage one-shots it. Nido Giet joins the one-shot party. Outrage defeats Starkazam. Blast Star comes out, his final Pokemon, and faints to Outrage. Yeah, I wasn't kidding with this name. Holy crap. With Blastar out of the way, I'm officially the new champion. This was a really fun challenge. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. But wait, the journey doesn't end here. Oh no. You can catch me in my Violet Hardcore Nuzlocke, or maybe you're curious about my Monster Hunter Sunbreak Nuzlocke. Either way, I'm certain you will be satisfied with them.